NerdWerkz presents Trevor Keller,
Dave, we've all been killed by a snow wolf in World of Warcraft.
Dave Thomas,
If you make my thing, I love ham, I'm gonna kill you.
Greg Burke,
So we're all gonna mine the same meteor? Sounds like a blast.
The Next Level, Episode 2, DLC Gamestop Cancelled.
Welcome everyone to The Next Level. I'm your host, Greg Burke. With me as always are my gaming enthusiast friends, Dave Thomas and Trevor Keller.
Hey everybody.
Alright, so first thing I want to start off with you guys. DLC, the term, what does that mean to you? Trev, we'll start with you. What does DLC mean to you?
DLC, that's additional content that is going to be released at the discretion of the developer at a later time.
And that's what it is to you? That's basically...
That generally, yes.
Okay, Dave, what does DLC mean to you?
Money.
Yes. That's
No,
it.
literally, it's downloadable content. It's content they create after the production of said video game that they add, and let's face it, nowadays it's for money. It used to be back in the original Xbox, it was free back in the good old days.
What's free?
Free DLC? No way.
What does free mean?
So basically you guys are in agreement that DLC usually means content. Dave, you said created after the game is made, and Trevor, you just said it's downloadable, so it means you purchase it after the game has already been made, basically.
Usually, yes.
Or at the very least, in the middle of being created during the release, and is finished after the game.
Right, well, that's not what Capcom thinks, and which leads us to our first story, is Capcom says that on-disc locked content is no different than DLC. Now, since you guys aren't big fighters, since that's what Capcom's been pouring out these last couple of months, I'll fill you in on it. Capcom released Marvel vs. Capcom, I think like last November or something, and you got, if you pre-ordered, paid an extra $10 or something, you got 2 additional characters. You got Jill Valentine and Shirma Gamora. God, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm gonna get torn apart if I'm not. So you got these 2 bonus characters. I mean, it's already a pretty big cast of fighters, and you got these. If you paid $10, you'd get them. People who didn't pay the extra $10 for the special edition had to order them, had to purchase them as DLC. Now, what was found out later, weeks later, was that these were 2 characters that were already complete and on the disc. They were done. They were ready to go. And they were charging people $5 for them for essentially a disc unlock. Was what hackers refer to as a hex wall, is what they call it. So you can't play them until you get the code from Capcom. And it was kind of frowned upon. People didn't like that. They got kind of pissed. And recently, with their latest game, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, they have 12 characters on the disc ready to go that they're announcing as, quote, DLC. And they're charging people for these characters. And like to make a long story short, they're ready. They're ready to go on the disc. But that's not the worst of it. The worst of it, the PS Vita version of Street Fighter Cross Tekken is coming out the port. And that includes the 12 characters for free in the $40 version of the game. So basically, Capcom released a statement saying just that they think that on-disc content is no different than DLC, and it's really too bad. My personal feeling on this is that DLC is downloadable content. It's content that you finish after the game is released, that you're working on, like, specifically as DLC. It's not something you just slap on, like be like, oh, let's lock this stuff out last minute and then charge people for it. And it's really too bad, because I see more and more developers doing this in this day and age, like locking out content and charging people for it later. But they do a better job of hiding it rather than Capcom does. When you go to the Xbox screen and look at their download queue when you buy it, it says 86 kilobytes. When if you go to the Batman Arkham Asylum, is just an example, the Robin DLC, that was actually done in-game and taken out for DLC, but they actually took it out. So it was actually like a 400 megabyte download. So, but I don't know, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. Trev, what do you think about this?
Well, from a consumer's point of view, it's irritating that they would have, content already on the disc. I mean, I've already bought the disc, so, already I'm pissed that I don't have access to everything on the disc. But, from a business side, these are businesses, and, they want to make money. They're not making these games just, for the fun of it. That this is a business. They want to make money. and they know that as much as we bitch and whine, we're gonna fork over that $5 because we want those extra characters. We want those 12 characters. So I mean, it sucks. It really sucks, but people are still buying it, and it's not gonna stop.
That's what a lot of people seem to think online too. Is they say that we just speak with our wallets. Now, Dave, what about your thoughts on this?
Well, Trev makes a good point. It's a double-edged sword, because of course, on the one hand, I'm a consumer. $65 is not cheap for a video game, first of all. So I do feel a sense of entitlement. I feel like if you've got something that's locked in the game, I mean, come on. Honestly, you come up with new stuff, I'm gonna buy it. Don't create something and then go, well, we might be able to get him to pay $5 to unlock this character because it's a cool character. So I feel kind of cheated at that point. But again, they are a business. They are trying to literally squeeze as many cents out of every production as they can. They spend a lot of money producing these games and all that. So I mean, they do deserve compensation for that. But honestly, I mean, I feel like the original 65, what is it, $64.95 or whatever it comes to.
It's $59.99 is like the retail price.
Yeah, I was gonna say, where are you shopping?
No, I know it's but I'm talking about with tax and all that jazz. It ends up coming to like just under 65. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I liked the good old days. I liked when I was playing the original Ghost Recon, and a new downloadable pack came out. So I would download it. I got new weapons and new gameplay and that sort of thing. Didn't have to worry about paying. So I mean it's sort of whether or not the community as a whole is going to go, this is bullcrap, we're not going to buy into it. That's the only way that something like this is ever going to stop, is if everyone together says, this is stupid, we know you're trying to make money, here's our money, now give us everything you've created. Give us the characters or the maps or the gameplay or whatever game you have to be playing. Give us what you've spent your time on. That's the whole point of us purchasing this, is we want the product you've made.
Now, is that it? Are you saying that for all DLC or just disc-locked content?
Well,
because I mean,
again, that's the other point, is whether or not DLC should be free or paid for, and I guess that depends on the depth that they go to. I feel like new characters on a fighting game. Now, I'm not a fighter per se. I'm not a fighting game enthusiast. But how different can the game be with the addition of a couple of new characters? I personally don't know. Greg, do you play fighting games?
Well, yes. The thing is, these characters have already been taken. The balancing has all been taken care of. They were technically in the game and play tested in whatever version before they released. They're all balanced. Everything is equal foot.
So there was not a whole lot of extra development that went into it, and a lot of balancing issues and things like that. They didn't have to do a lot of extra work for these characters.
No, I mean everything was completed at the same time. The whole game with all the characters on it was completed at the time they were distributing the disc. They were already done. They were already done.
Okay, and that's kind of my point. I feel like if you've already done all the work, why should we give you extra money for it? It's different with DLC, I think. For instance, I'm a big shooter fan, so if I play Call of Duty and they come out with a 3 or 4 map pack that they've worked on, I kind of can't help but feel like they deserve compensation for that.
they totally deserve compensation for that.
Well, I like I said, I like the old days when it was free. However, they put a lot of work into it, and that definitely deserves monetary compensation. So when a new map pack comes out for a game, I'm there. Paying my $15 or whatever.
No.
But for new characters that they've already created, they've already done the work for, and should have been happy with receiving my money to pay for the disc itself, that seems a little greedy.
Now, how would you feel if, like, you see Modern Warfare, you got Modern Warfare 3, and then they say, hey, a new map came out, and you go to to purchase it at the store, and you find out it's like 80 kilobytes, and you figure out that it wasn't a map that they made, but a map they already completed, that they're charging, let's just say, $15 for. It was a map pack for $15. And all 4 of the maps are actually in the game, already there. They just locked them out, so you'd have to buy them for $15. How would you feel about it then?
Oh yeah, that's bullcrap. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they've already
it's very sucky.
Yeah, they've already paid their people to make it. They've already done all the production work on it. That's in that initial purchase. That initial purchase covers the cost of them creating this thing already. It's not like after the fact they went, "Wow, our game is really popular. Let's keep pushing, the envelope. Let's keep creating new content," and then they have to spend more money to like I said, to push new maps or push new weapons or whatever. In which case they deserve to receive some sort of profit off of that hard work. But if it's hard work already done, they've received their profit. They've received the money for the actual game itself.
See, what I think people are afraid of in terms of is like, when will it stop? Like, I mean, when is it going to get out of control? Because right now, I mean, at first it started with, oh my god, we have this era of gaming where we can like make stuff after the game, like Skyrim, for example, is working on DLC right now, and we can improve upon the gaming experience, with downloadable content. And now it's getting to the point where companies are now like literally taking content out of the game, or like deliberately locking it out on a disc so they can charge for DLC. And I think that's what is making so many people angry, like in general, because the fans basically on EGM.com, for the article of the story, which I'll link below. Here's what their fans are saying. If that content is already finished and included on the disc, it's unfair to ask customers to pay for content that they feel they already paid for. Purchasing additional after-the-fact content is one thing, but if it's on the disc, then I've already bought it. That's basically what people are their view angles of DLC, and I think it's pretty crappy. I mean, if you're gonna do that, at least try to like make it look like it was finished after, like make the download 200 megabytes of blank space just to make it look like you actually gave two shits when you were making it. I mean, disguise it. That way you're like, oh, it's not just a disc unlock.
Yes, game companies lie to us. That's what we want.
That's what we. Right. I would be less mad if I saw that.
No, that's an awful idea. But it is going to be a balancing act, because eventually these production companies are either going to be known for creating new DLC and making their customers happy, or they're going to be known for disc locking this content. And the more they do that, they're going to start losing customers. Well, they are a business after all.
This whole DLC, it's it can be much worse. I mean, there's a lot of talk about game companies are using DLC as an excuse to ship unfinished games, because they can always just fix it with DLC. So it's not just I'm going to release content that was already on the disc. Now it's like I'm going to ship a broken game, and then I'll just patch it later. I'll fix it with DLC. So the whole DLC thing is it can turn into just a horrible monster that's just going to devour all of us. But
well, and like I said, that's the balancing act. How much can you complete and then ship without pissing off your customers, without making them think you're an inadequate company that is just trying to make as much money as you can before you go under. So I mean, I think that's where it's really going to start getting tricky, is how little can they send us before the DLC, before they start having to add extra stuff.
That's exactly what Capcom, like, it's basically Capcom is the big giant company that's pissing everyone off right now, because that's what they're doing. They're testing people to see how little they can give them and how much they'll get back. I mean, it's like they tested it with the two fighting games, they're testing it with Street Fighter Cross Tekken, they tested it with that Resident Evil game that came out, the Operation Raccoon City. There's a full multiplayer mode that they locked out of the game and that you have to pay. It's like 320 Microsoft points. I think it's like what, like $3, $4. They locked it out deliberately.
That's messed up.
Yeah, I know. For it's like $3, it's like I just bought $60 game. Like, give me that mode, But
yeah, you only need $3 extra.
I guess they do. I mean, I guess they're in huge trouble. But that's a story for another day. So
yeah, it's just also really douchey that they would say that they don't see a difference between releasing DLC at a later time and locking it on the disc. I mean, what's that about? That's just so.
That's like saying I will sell you an ice cream cone, and then handing me a cone. I'm sorry. The ice cream is separate. That's an extra $3.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it just really speaks to the company. They're just
it's so douchey that they would say something like that.
It really is. But that's what Capcom's doing nowadays, and I guess they're going to keep doing it. So for you guys, if you guys hate what they're doing, everyone who listens to this, if you hate what Capcom's doing, don't buy it. Don't buy the DLC. You can actually
hit them with your wallet.
Yeah, right. Hit them with your wallet and actually write letters to their PR firms to tell them like, I'm not buying your DLC. Make this content free. Outside this, and it did work. I mean, they locked out originally. They originally locked out Mega Man and Pac-Man on Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and because of the response of like, oh, you guys have on locked on disc content that we have to pay for, they actually released those for free. So
they?
Yeah, they so it's like kind of like a token of goodwill, I guess. But so just hit them with your wallet. Don't let them push you around, and that's what you're going to do. Time for our second story of the night, Trevor. I believe you have our second story.
Yes. Well, apparently, to kind of go with your story, a law firm, Barron and Budd, announced that there was a settlement made with GameStop. So now, GameStop is going to have to post up signs saying that basically the game you're about to buy, the used game you're about to buy, we're going to charge you some extra money for the content that it's advertising on the disc. So I guess what's been going on is GameStop will sell a used game, say for $5 less than the retail version, and you buy it, and then, oh, lo and behold, you need to pay an extra $15 for the online pass. So you end up spending more than you normally would. So there was a lawsuit. They came to a settlement. GameStop's now going to be posting signs saying, sorry, yeah, this game you're going to have to pay an extra couple bucks for if you want to go online. In addition to this, I know GameStop, they have like this power-up rewards program. So now when you're buying used games, they're going to be offering their members, their power-up reward members, loyalty programs. So when they buy used games, they'll get $15 back. So if you're part of this power-up rewards loyalty program, you'll get $10. I guess a $10 check, it says here in the article. Like they're going to write you a check. And then a $5 coupon. And if you're not part of their loyalty program, they'll give you a $5 check and a $10 coupon. But I mean, this story kind of goes hand in hand with your, on disc locked content. So now they're going to be posting signs saying, these characters are not going to be offered. So, Greg, does this in some kind of way? Does this appease that kind of part of it?
It's just like, I think it's like, I hate to use Dave's analogy again, but it's the double-edged sword again. It's like games are costing more and more to make, and I understand that. Like, people are investing millions of dollars into these video games where you have to sell 1 million copies just to break even, and then the profit comes. And if that's the case, charge more for the games. Like, if you need to charge $69.99 for a game instead of $59, do that. I mean, I'll still buy the game if it's a good game. Doing this, to me, just kind of seems like they're trying to, like, just destroy GameStop. Like, it seems like just, like, a deliberately thing to be like, hey, like, we're going to make these online passes so like you can't buy used games at your local retailer anymore, so you have to go through us and buy us DLC. And games, this is a good idea for GameStop to give a credit back, so like when you buy a used game, you're literally buying a used game and don't have to like pay for any content. I think it's just they're targeting the GameStop, the used game market, trying to get rid of it because they hate the used game market because they don't see a penny from it afterwards. I mean,
also, GameStop was kind of, it's like a scheme. They're trying to get more money out of these poor gamers that just want to, they think they're trying to get a cheaper game when in reality they got to pay a little extra to get the full experience of that game. So, I mean, this is actually really helping, in my opinion.
It's not really GameStop's fault. The general premise of GameStop is brilliant. Your gamer who doesn't have the money to buy a brand spanking new game sells a couple of old games they don't play anymore. Then they get to buy a used game for slightly cheaper, and then GameStop gets to turn around and use take those games that they just purchased from that player and then resell them. It's actually a pretty solid profit plan. But yeah, like Greg said, the original company received nothing, and they're pissed. They are so unhappy that they are not receiving any more money from the exchange of hands. The fact that their game is exchanging hands back and forth. So yeah, this actually happened with me with Battlefield. I purchased Battlefield 3, I think it was, for free, and it had an online
you purchased it for
code
free?
that you had to have to play the multiplayer.
You didn't pay for it?
Sorry,
Jesus.
I purchased Battlefield 3 and it required one of those online passes. And then I went to let someone at work borrow it, and he couldn't get on. I couldn't let him. I couldn't, he couldn't play with his friends on multiplayer.
Right.
And then I gave him the passcode, already used up. Nothing you can do about it. And it's just another way to stick it to
with Battlefield 3 though, you bought it.
GameStop.
You bought it new, right? And it came with that online pass. You didn't.
Yes, it
you
did.
didn't have to pay extra.
No, I did not.
So Joe Schmo walks into GameStop and buys a used copy for $55, and then he has to pay an extra $15 to get that online pass. So in reality, he starts paying $70.
Exactly. Yeah, and I definitely think that GameStop should be held responsible for letting people know, hey, this has an online pass that you have to purchase. And I like the idea that they're giving rebates. That's a good call. I'm not happy with the game designers, the game companies that have decided to start doing this in order to sort of screw with the smaller used game market. I feel like that's kind of petty.
Yeah,
They're
just trying to
Sorry,
destroy. They're just trying to destroy the GameStop market. I mean, granted, like GameStop doesn't treat their employees very well, but still, like they're just going out of their way to screw over this company trying to sell used games. This is basically what they're trying to do. And if you want to just charge more for the game, like if you're going to be that stingy about that, just charge $70 for the game instead of $59 if it's costing more to produce and more to turn a profit.
That's a bad idea.
Don't charge any
Sell
more
them for
than
cheaper.
games. Yes. Yeah, no, GameStop, at least GameStop hasn't given up. They've found a way around it. They're going to tell people that you need an online passcode, and therefore you have options. You have these reward cards that sort of offset the cost of having to purchase the additional online passcode.
Yeah, and it's also going to serve all other purposes also, because I mean EA just last week or a couple weeks ago, they announced that they're going to be shutting down completely some servers for some of their older games. So people that bought, oh gosh, brain fart, awkward,
Awkward on the air silence.
yeah, really.
Wow, you are fired.
Well, here,
right now.
while you think about it, I'll ask you another question.
There's certain EA games that have an online, like FIFA. That was one of them, like FIFA 10 or something like that. If a person went into GameStop and bought a used copy of FIFA 10, they would have no idea that the online capability for that game is going to be gone in very soon. So
well, that's actually happened with a number of games. For instance, Chromehounds, a game that we used to play a lot.
I love that
back
game.
when it first came out. Yeah, it was brilliant. I just happened to pop it into my Xbox recently, and I went to go play online. I love playing against the bots. They're pretty straightforward, pretty easy. And I couldn't connect to their online server. They're shut down.
Aww.
Complete inaccess.
that's my point, is that if you go to GameStop and you buy a used copy of Chromehounds, you would have no idea that, wow, half of this game is unavailable anymore.
Yep.
But I think that part of this story is that they're going to be posting warnings about these types of things, so that less and less gamers are going to be affected by this.
No, that's very fair, and I find that appropriate. It is full disclosure is necessary in any company. So I'm glad that someone has stepped up and said, hey, you guys are sort of kind of screwing people by not giving them all the information.
No, Trev, is this lawsuit for the DLC warnings, is that California state only, or is that like nation?
So it is just for California, and they're going to be pushing for this outside of California.
Okay, so yeah, it's just a California.
appropriate.
But you got to be careful, because remember, this was the same, like California's legislator or whatever government, our government. These are the same people who wanted to claim that when you bought a game, you technically didn't own it. You had the right to play it, but you didn't own the game. Like these are the same people who tried to do that.
That makes total sense. Yeah.
When did that happen?
This happened a couple years ago. It was at the same time where like people were jailbreaking their iPhones. iPhone tried to
say back before when iPhone you were allowed to use it, but you didn't actually purchase the hardware.
You didn't own the hardware. They just let you use it. Like this is the same time because so many people like myself included are starting to make money, and it's not very much, but like doing walkthroughs and stuff. And game companies are pissed because they're saying, "No, you can't do that. You don't own the content." But the problem is when you put VO under it, and you're reviewing it or doing a walkthrough or tutorial, it becomes fair use, and you can make money off of it. So they were trying to do that, and that's kind of crappy.
Suck it, big companies.
I guess, yeah. So I guess maybe it's just something about the state this is just really, they're really finicky about their laws and stuff. But I guess you're right. I guess putting the online warning would be nice for younger kids who don't have the capacity to think about like, oh, maybe I can't play this game online.
Well, just people
and the kids,
also in general that
don't
aren't
do that research. That's
exactly people that just aren't up to speed with the most recent news.
yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
So, final thoughts on this, Trev? What do you think? Think it's a good idea? I think it's a good idea that they're doing it. I think it's sad that a lawsuit had to make them do it, but I think it's a good idea they're doing it in general.
No, yeah, it's definitely a good idea, and like you guys said, they're offering cash back for used games. So, I mean, I don't see anything bad that's going to come from this. So,
All right.
Dave, what do you think?
No, I think it's a good idea. It's knowledge is power, and let's face it, the consumers need a little more power every once in a while. So no, that's solid. It's a good idea.
Now, Dave, you youngster, your story, I believe it has something to do with the connecting Gears of War.
If we could
Good
all
old Connect.
if we could all
Connect.
please bow our heads in a moment of silence. If Greg, if you could please turn on the funeral music for our fallen comrade, the new Gears of War Exile. It's been canceled. hey, you shut your mouth.
I hate Gears of War. Trevor ruined Gears of War for me. He just ruined it. It's no fun anymore. It's no fun.
I think the online capability of Gears of War ruined it for a lot of people.
Yeah. All right, so Gears of War Exile, the new game in the Gears of War franchise. They hadn't released a whole hell of a lot, but the idea was that it was supposed to be for Kinect. It was going to be the next big Gears of War game, and it's officially been canceled. Epic's Cliff Belinsky, I don't think I pronounced that right. They've
Cliffy B. Just call him Cliffy B.
Cliffy
Everyone calls
B.
him Cliffy B.
I know. He's confirmed officially that the title was in development, but it's been canned. I'm not sure why. Because they're probably because the Kinect is.
Yeah, maybe it's because it was going to be on Kinect.
I heard because Star Wars, that's Kinect Star Wars game, was getting such horrible reviews that was like the deciding factor. They're like, wow, people are ripping this game apart. And it's Star Wars. What chance does Gears of War have if people are ripping on Star Wars?
Well,
Well,
lo and behold, this Gears of War game was going to be yet another on rails,
On-rail shooter,
Kinect
yeah.
game.
Well, to be fair, Gears is already sort of on rails. It's all sort of repetitive, and there's not a whole. There are cool aspects of it. The cover system is fantastic, but again, it's your straightforward shooter. There's not a whole lot of crazy tactics that have to do that with this game. It's not an open world or anything. It's pretty much march down a tunnel with lots and lots of bad guys coming at you.
I do think it would have been kind of awesome to actually curb stomp someone
right
with your Kinect.
Yeah.
That kind of would have been cool.
No, like
for
I
the
said,
kids.
The Kinect is
Yeah.
kids.
Teach them while
Well,
they're young. Get them while
like
they're
I
young.
Put your
like
teeth
I've
on the
said-
curb. Put your teeth on the curb.
God.
God.
You are never getting to see my child ever. All right, so I have to say I'm kind of bummed. Again, I'm the Kinect in my opinion, and definitely in Trev and Greg's, it needs work, but I think it's the future. So I'm doing my best to support it. And this, I probably would have picked this up. It bums me out that they stopped it without kind of without even coming out with a trailer. There's no real information on it. Just sort of this little tiny blurb about how they're canceling it. But yeah, it would have been, like you said, it would have been great to take cover behind walls for real, to curb stomp a guy. You know what I mean? That's the opportunities for this game could have been phenomenal, but
I don't know, the way you normally see Gears of War played on screen, that the Kinect version looks like it would have been just exhausting. I wouldn't have been able to make it through one level with all the diving and ducking and curb stomping and
yeah. But can you imagine how much
chainsawing
weight I
and-
use?
No, let me interject for a second, because you know what, Trevor, you were right. Like, we brought the Kinect over to my fiance's nephew's house, and he had a blast. Like, kids love it. Like, it's just,
Oh, yeah.
they love the interactiveness, and then it's great for you to do it with them. Like, it's a great, like, father-son, like, or mother-daughter, whatever. Like,
I'm telling
toy.
you, it's the next advent of video gaming. It's the next step.
it's
You
just,
know, really little kids are really getting used to it. They're really liking how their physical movements interact with the screen. They don't have to worry about a controller. It's gonna be Back to the Future.
Yeah,
You have to
I was
use
just
your
thinking that. You have to use your hands. That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's a baby's toy. It's going to get to that point. It just needs a little more time, I think. But it was probably a smart move, honestly, for the Gears of War team, because let's face it, it's great, and you don't want to attach a great title to a crappy game.
Yeah, because Star Wars has already been like beat to hell, and like it's okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's beat to hell and resurrected, and beat to hell and resurrected. So Star Wars will never die. Gears of War, it could have killed itself. We don't know.
It's
better to
Han
play it
Solo dancing, I think, pretty much killed Star Wars.
Han Solo dancing was awesome. You shut your mouth.
No.
We talk about the Clone Wars killed Star Wars, like that show. It's just like, what happened?
Well, no, the show is fine.
The
No,
cartoon?
what killed it was Episode 1. Episode 1 freaking killed it for me. But no, it was smart for Epic Games, or for Epic Studios to cancel it, because the last thing you want is something that's awesome sort of sullied by a less than perfect control system.
With Cliffy B, I want to actually see him. Like, I've never seen him like at a computer, like talking about a game. He seems, first of all, he's too good looking. One, that's strike one. He's always talking.
Hey, I'm on your show, so
He's always he's always talking about. He's always in front of cameras talking about how great his game are how great his games are, and then he's always the one at like E3 or like PAX who like goes out and talks to the media.
Well,
and
he's the face of Epic.
Yeah,
exactly,
he's
but like the thing is,
spokesperson.
I want to know. I'm not doubting him. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm really like having a hard time
You
wrapping
wanna
my
see
head
him
around.
play a video game.
I know. I want to see him work on one, because I don't think does he work on them, or did he just like yell at people in the office to make it great and like while he lifts weights? That's all I want to know.
No, that's exactly what he does. He's the creative. What's his? I don't know his official title, like creative producer or something like
something
like that. Yeah, but yeah, he's a point in command type of figure.
Yeah.
I think.
But like he's the one who quote made Gears of War. So does that mean he just made Gears of War at the concept and then like a team carried it out?
Yes, that's exactly what I
Well,
mean.
he's the creative force behind it. So yeah, he's the guy. I'm assuming he's the guy standing over your shoulder saying, that more blood, or
Yeah.
that put more spikes on that. Like that type of.
Yeah, he's the idea man. You can create a game without ever touching a computer. It helps, but yeah, all it takes is you sitting around a table with people who know what they're doing, and you say, okay, here's my idea. Now you go and you make my idea. So I'm sure that's the situation.
Yeah, because I've never seen him like actually like in any behind the scenes actually by a computer like coding or modeling or doing anything. He always seems to be very media friendly.
Yeah, he's beyond that.
Yeah, he's
got hundreds of people.
He's got little hirelings for that.
Hold on, I'm looking right now. I'm trying to see if he actually founded Epic Games. If he's the founder of Epic Games. I don't know. I'm not sure if he is. If Wikipedia has taught us anything.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, let me go add that right now.
I'm gonna see.
Exactly. Yeah.
Allow me to change that he also has wings.
Yeah,
But,
I think it's definitely a good idea that they pulled out of this Connect.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it was a very small team that was working on it anyway. I can't see Epic
Spending all their time.
putting their entire team on this Connect game.
Yeah.
I think they have something far better in mind. Probably a next gen title.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them releasing another Gears of War. Well, I mean the trilogy's over pretty much, but I don't see them putting out any other title for this generation. They're probably working on a next gen title, and they want their whole team on it. So.
Well, I would hope so, since that's going to be announced pretty soon here, right?
Yeah,
should be announced this summer.
The new dev cycle is coming up pretty soon, so
Beautiful.
this E3 we should be hearing some pretty cool stuff.
Oh man, I wish I was going. But yeah, in general, it just seems like a smart move on Epic's part. Because like I said, you don't want your sort of what's the word I'm thinking of? You don't want your mascot title to go down in flames that way. They've ended it fairly well, and what would be the point in hurting it? What would be the point in nosediving it right at the end? Money. Right back to the DLC. It's all for money. They're going to do everything for money.
Right. Gears of War is a powerful. That's three very powerful words in the gaming industry.
That's true.
And anything that has those three words on it will most likely make a little money.
Well,
even if they suck.
This guy has
Thank-
had his
thank
hands in like
goodness.
everything. I realized he was a prominent figure in the video game world, but like I thought he's Infinity, the iPad game Infinity Blade. He worked on that, or apparently had something to do with that. And he had Gears of War 2, 3, all the Unreal tournaments. Like, but it doesn't say what his title was on any of them. What the hell?
What's his current title? It's like creative lead of Epic Games or something like that.
God damn it,
Greg,
Wikipedia!
his
You
title
failed me.
is Cliffy B.
You failed
Cliffy
me,
B.
Wikipedia. You failed me. It's the first time. Oh, wait, he's an IMDb. Let's see, producer. Maybe he's a producer.
No, I'm pretty
It's a-
sure
is
there's
it-
creative somewhere in his title.
Does it really matter?
Yeah, he was an executive producer on Unreal 2, The
Oh, God,
Awakening.
So that's forever ago.
Oh, here you go.
I was
Unreal
gonna say,
Championship
so back
producer,
to
Unreal
Sunday.
Tournament 2003 producer. I wish. I mean, I feel so dumbass because I mean he's been in the industry for years, and we always see him as the Gears of War guy, and I never thought to think about what's his title. Like, is he creative director? Is he a director? Is he a producer? Is he executive? Blah blah blah. Blah? I don't know. I don't know.
Just call him the God of Gears. It's fine. No big deal.
Creative director. Thank you at Epic.
Creative
There you
director.
go.
There you go.
Trev,
See?
you were on it. Trev was right. Trev was right.
Creative
for once.
director Cliff Blazinski.
Cliffy B.
Good old Cliffy.
I just picture him like
All right,
screaming
well.
at people. I just
Just
sitting
because
over a
that's
desk
the way
and
that you
screaming at
manage.
people and just being
Like,
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 no!
a Steve Jobs behind closed doors.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Screaming at people. Takes all the credit when like there's a huge team with like 200 people working on it. All I do was like scream at them to make it better. That's what
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah, and look what happened to him.
Hey,
Aw,
too soon.
too
Too
soon?
soon. Too
Cancer?
soon. Too cancer.
Yeah, it affects people. He had an angry life. He died an angry man.
Oh, we have to wrap it up, don't we? Yeah, we have to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Boom.
we're getting to our point, man.
All right, everybody. So galley up your XP. Dave, you get 1,000 experience points. Trev gets 1,500
Yes.
experience points.
Oh yeah.
Aw.
And you guys get 2 bonus experience points and 5 gold for role playing. Okay.
Nice.
There you go. All right, you guys. We will see you guys next time on the next level.